Hi, this is Tom Mura from World Class Coaching with another in our series of animated drills. This week, I wanted to share some 2v2 plus 2 games that I really enjoyed doing with my teams. And I like changing the format up to bring out different principles of the game, also just to keep it fresh for the players so that they're doing something different. Oftentimes, if I have a small group at a training session, if I have 8 players, then these are games that I like to do together in one training session, just to bring out different topics, to keep it fresh, to keep it moving so that the players get a lot of touches, they get a lot of situations to solve, and it's fresh and interesting each time we play. So again, I've organized this so that I've got all my diagrams in one exercise in the Planet Training software, just so you can see how that's organized and how easy it is to get from one to the next. And so the first one, I'll actually start out with my favorite one because this is a quick transitioning, really fun game that I think the players get a lot out of. And the way it's organized, this area can vary depending on the age and ability level of your players. You could have it be 20 yards wide by 30 yards long. If you want to make it a really big area, you can tighten that up, and make it 10 yards wide by 15 yards long if you want to make it a bit smaller. So you can make it as big or as small as you like. Obviously, the smaller you make it, the more technical it's going to be. The bigger you make it, the more the players are going to have to work hard to cover the space. So the way it's organized here is we've got small goals, and I like to use cones for this activity. You can also use small goals, but for this one I like to use goals, and you'll see why in a second. Use these cones as goals. And we'll have 2 players on the field, and then their 2 teammates are waiting behind each of the 2 goals on their own end. Again, we're defending with 2, and then 2 are waiting. And the way this game is played is these 2 black players are then trying to attack these 2 goals, and if they can score, then they stay on the field. And let's say they score then through this goal, then this player would then take the ball and come on the field with their teammate and attack those 2 players, while these 2 would then come off of the field and position themselves behind the goal again. So now these 2 players are coming on to attack. If they're able to score, you get the same transition at the other end. So it makes it a very quick moving game where the players have to be ready to go. Now you might say, what happens if the ball goes out on the side? If the ball goes out over one of the sidelines, then both teams that are on the field, both groups of 2, leave the field, and these 2 that are waiting both come on the field. The team that lost possession, so if yellow touched it last, then the black team would grab a ball from the middle and they would come on and attack the other 2 teams at the other 2 players on that team at the far end. So anytime it goes out on the side, both groups of players switch. Anytime it goes out over the end, then the team that's at this end, or the team that's at the end of the field where the ball went out, then comes on. So if the yellow team took a shot that didn't quite make it through the goal and came rather on the outside here, then the black team would still get the ball and come on and attack them because they achieved the attempt on goal. So they get credit for that, and they get to stay on the field, and the other team comes on to attack. So that's a quick moving game that I can usually only play that in 3 to 4 minute games because the players get tired. It's very quick moving. They get a lot of repetitions, very fast paced. So, but it's one that the players really enjoy doing as well. So that's the first one I wanted to share, and we'll go to the second one. And this second one, the way I have this one organized is that the players that are waiting are on the side. And they're not so much waiting as they're there in support. So we've got the same size of the field, so you don't have to change anything. The only thing they add is a halfway line, and that halfway line is really for the players off of the field, so that the players off of the field are restricted to the attacking side of the field for them. So black is then coming to attack these goals at this end, so their supporting players are here. So we're just playing a simple 2 versus 2, but now we have +2 in the attacking half of the field. So really we've got a 4 versus 2. So now it's an opportunity for players to make runs through. So if that player's on the ball, this player can make a run through, try to get in behind because they've got the support of the players on the side to try to connect with, while these players have to try to defend and stay in front. All right, in order to deny those, splitting passes. But if we start over here and switch the ball to the other side, then we can have player movement and combinations there. So, and obviously when the yellow team wins the ball, they have outlets that they can use on the outside to get to the attacking half of the field quickly. They can win the ball here, play it out wide, and then they can move up to support that. Now, the restrictions you put on the outside players, really depend on the quality of your players. If you want to limit these players to 2 touches, then that's going to obviously require them to be able to think quickly and play quickly. If you have high-level players, you can put them on 1 touch. If you have more beginning players, maybe you can give them a 3-touch rule or an unlimited touch rule, just depending. But you want to keep the flow of the game going, so you want to encourage these players to play quickly. So maybe you give them unlimited touches, but you say they have to play within 3 seconds. So that way they can have the opportunity to control the ball, but still need to play quickly. If their touch isn't quite as good, then those extra touches can be useful for them to control it. But then let's get playing and get the ball moving on the field, and having these players move and support so that we can try to attack the goal. So that's the second game. And there's one more that I wanted to share. And obviously just organizing players in a different way. This one, you can put the players that are on the outside, I put them on the ends of the field. So if the black team is in possession, basically they have a supporting player in the back that they can use, an attacking player in the front that they can use. So if they have those players, now they're able to play the ball in to that attacking player and support that player by making runs forward. I have to grab the ball there, don't I? And move it to that player, and then we can try to attack the goal. So if they need to start over, they can pass back in order to reset and kind of get organized. And then these players will obviously defend from the middle, play the ball out, and play from there. Now, the same restrictions we had before you can put on these players. You might even have a different restriction on the defending player versus the attacking player. You could say to the defending player, you're only allowed to play 2 touch, whereas the attacking player has to play 1 touch. So there has to be quick support for that attacking player, whereas the defending player can take a touch, try to open up and switch the field. If you put that player on 1 touch, that's going to demand a high level of technique for them to be able to open up and play 1 touch every time, regardless of the quality of the pass they get. So, having that extra touch in the back, I think, is important, but encouraging the attacking player to play off 1 touch then really forces these players to move into supporting positions much more quickly. So I like those different restrictions based on attacking and defending. Now, obviously, if the yellow team has the ball, now their player is supporting from the back, and then they've got a player supporting up top, and they're playing the same rule structure. The other players that are out of bounds aren't involved in the play while that team is in possession. You can only support your team or affect the game when your team is in possession. So that's that rule. There's another one, actually, that you can play with the format that we had earlier. You could play this 2 versus 2 plus 2 game, and you could actually switch the ends of these players. So just for example, so if we take these players and change them into the yellow players, and then we take these players and turn them into the black team players. So now we've got support in the attack on this end from 2 players. So you could do it that way just to have the player supporting on the end, and you've got 2 targets that you can play into. You could even allow these targets to move if you had another cone that you put, or some kind of way of dividing the area and say this player can go only so far up this way, and then they can come around this way to support, and this player likewise can go there or there. Perhaps you go back to the halfway line that we had on the field and say you can support anywhere in your quarter of the field. So that would be another way to play those target players. There's obviously lots of different ways to do them. This is the way that I like to organize them. Love to hear different alternatives in the comment section below, and just let other coaches kind of interact with that and talk about how they might use this format to suit their needs. So I hope you try that with your teams, and leave a comment in the section below. Let us know how it goes. Thanks a lot.